Hi guys, it's Carisa. It's been a little while since I had to sit down with you, and sometimes I think I want to film something like this, but I guess I never prepare myself ahead of time for exactly what I'm going to talk about, and that throws me off a little bit because I tried recently to sit down and do this, and um, I don't know. I'm doing it again already. I guess I'm telling you about why I am or am not going to talk about certain things, and I should just talk. I should just press record and just talk. And one more thing before I get started. Yes, I lightened my hair a little. Don't encourage me. I shouldn't have done it. And I have no idea what's happening from this point forward. So let's just be done with that now. I just got done with work for the day and I just feel so sluggish right now. I am dying to take a nap, and that is a bad habit that I've been getting back into, and it leads me to question what it is that's causing that. Am I feeling sleepy because I'm not properly supplementing my electrolytes? Am I taking my magnesium too late in the day and it affects me too late for the next day? Or am I depressed? And is that causing that? Because one of the first mechanisms that my brain goes to when I'm stressed out or depressed is that it just creates this unbelievable lethargy and it makes me want to just crawl into bed and sleep. Sometimes just thinking about something that I have to do that's stressful makes my eyelids physically heavy. So I'm guessing that one of those two things is the main issue. It's possible that it's a combination of both. I don't really know why I would be so tired lately, but eating a ketogenic diet normally gives you energy, excess energy, if that, where sometimes you don't sleep a full night's sleep because you're just so full of energy. And um, I don't know what's going on with me, but about midday, usually while I'm working, I get really, really tired and feel like I'm going to pass out. And then I usually do. I can't keep my eyes open past 8 p.m. So I just crawl into bed. And usually I'll just read a little and just kind of hang out, talk to Mike, hang out with the dogs. But lately I've been crawling into bed and I can barely set an alarm. Not that I do, but I mean, if there's any one little thing I need to do, like plug my phone in to charge it, it barely takes place before I am snoring. And then when I wake up in the morning, I don't feel refreshed. I still feel tired and I still want to keep sleeping. And this is very atypical of how I've been feeling since I started eating this way. So I don't know what is causing it. I'm going to play around with possibly taking my magnesium earlier in the day. Right now I take it around 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I think that maybe I'm taking it too late. But that's when I've always taken it, so I don't know why that would be. Another thing is I could just be going through a bout of depression. As a lot of you know, I have promised myself a couple of things when I reach one of like 3 weight loss goals. And the first one was to lose 50 pounds. Now, since August, I have lost about 40 pounds, and it's been fluctuating a little bit, and it's been very slow moving the last few weeks. I think that's honestly because I've been terrified of my own success, because losing 50 pounds meant I was going to start fertility treatments again. And there was one other thing that I promised myself as like a gift to me, or kind of like I don't know, just a little nudge to cross the finish line, a non-TTC related gift, I guess. And I feel guilty about that. I know that sounds stupid because it's like, well, the whole point is that you have accomplished something. So that's why you set something like that up. But I am living in this really bizarre world of self-pity and fear, and I can't shake it. It's just been hanging around. I think the biggest issue is that it's been hanging around, and I only just recently figured out that that's probably what's going on. I have been participating in all different forms of self-sabotage. Like, I'll take a couple steps that feel like they're in the right direction, and then I will do something to mess all of that up. I have been trying to play around with my diet lately because some of it's out of boredom, but I think most of it, honestly, is just me trying to say, okay, what can you get away with? What is it that you can do? Like, push your boundaries, up your carbs, or eat things that are higher carb, and then see if you can eat less, throughout the day, distribute everything else differently. And the result has been basically that I've been sort of at a plateau. I guess I don't want to call it a plateau because it's not really true, but I've been about the same weight for the last 3 or 4 weeks now. And that's frustrating because obviously I was experiencing a forward momentum and I want to keep going on that. But part of me also knows that that is a very realistic thing that could happen to just anybody who's going through a weight loss journey, whether you're being angelic or not. There are things about the human body that just are the way they are, and sometimes you hit a rut for reasons that, you might have to tweak and figure out, or reasons that you'll never fully understand. So I'm doing a very lazy version of keto. I don't count calories. I very roughly count carbs. I basically just keep an eye on the things that I would normally have that would throw me off or that would not be okay. And if I really want them, I have them on like a designated cheat day. And I overdid it with sugar this weekend. And I'm learning about my body in general. If I want something I shouldn't have, it should be carb heavy and not sugar heavy. If I want pizza with the actual crust, that's better than having Easter candy because it's in stores already, just so you know. So I have been living in a little bit of a fog from that. I had a few sugar withdrawal headaches the last few days, and I don't mean to breeze past that. It's pretty debilitating when that happens. It's like a lot of light sensitivity, eye tearing. In the actual headache itself felt more like a haze across my forehead, and then every now and then it was like boom, boom, boom. Like, don't forget you have a headache. So that has affected my overall mood and the way I've been feeling. Not even because I really regret what I have eaten to cause this, but almost because I'm like, okay, you learned. Like, this is all learning. This is all information that I'm gathering about myself and the things I can and can't do. But then at the same time, part of me is like, were you just trying to see what you could get away with because you kind of hope you fail because you're scared? Leading up to starting fertility treatments, which in my mind, I had a very loose expectation date of February or March. So I'm kind of in it right now, even though I haven't started anything. I was hoping to have my first appointment at least by February or March. And although it's still completely likely, I also feel like I have this obligation to myself to fulfill my personal promise that I wasn't going to attempt anything until I lost at least 50 pounds. Because the reality is I'd be more comfortable with an 80-pound weight loss, but then we're getting into like the last quarter of the year. I'm sure it would take, several more months for that to be the case. And then part of me is like, well, why would you stop there? Then you'll probably want to just knock it off to even 100 pounds. And before you know it, it'll be 10 years later because you're overcompensating for the fact that you have such fear about starting treatments. And I think that some of it is genuine fear, just about all of it, just about it in general. But I also am afraid of who I am as a person in this new body, in this new place in my life, mentally, physically. Who am I now when I'm in treatment? Because I think it's really easy to forget just how stressful it all is because you do remember being inconvenienced, you do remember being uncomfortable, and you do remember just not feeling like yourself. But the things that I forgot about are all of the little tiny issues that you can't control that come up. And the first one that I've really encountered is having to deal with trying to obtain a discount again, because I'm so grateful that it is possible. But the drug manufacturer for certain medications offers a compassionate care program that you have to sign up for. You get a discount for 1 calendar year under this one application, and it's for 25, 50, or 75% off certain medications. And the most important one to me is the Gonal F, because that's what is the most expensive and that I have to use the most of. And the first time I signed up for the discount, it was technically 2 years ago, I think, on 3 years ago's tax information. I was met with a lot of pushback. They didn't like some of the paperwork I sent them. I sent an IRS transcript instead of the actual 1099s or W-2s, and my form was a 1099K, and they were like, we don't take a 1099K, even though it's the same thing, it's just a different whatever. I can't tell you how many phone calls I received from really rude people who work for this company for a program called Compassionate Care. I could talk about that all afternoon, but the truth of the matter is I stepped outside of my comfort zone, and after like my 4th or 5th really rude phone call with someone, I hung up and I immediately called back and said, I'm sorry. I just talked to someone else. They were so rude. I just wanted some advice or some input on what I should do next. I need a little bit of guidance, and if you can't give that to me, that's fine, but I just wanted to try somebody else. And I got through to Valencia, and bless you, Valencia. I know you won't see this, but I know you're out there, and thank you for being actually compassionate, because she listened to me and said, okay, it sounds like your tax information isn't eligible because of the form that it comes in. So she submitted everything with just Mike's information. I would have done that in the first place, but that was, to me, that was dishonest, because that isn't our income information. But then I also was nervous that what if my income sets us into a bracket where we're not eligible anymore? And that scares me too. The bottom line is I did get approved for a 50% discount, which I am so grateful for. But there were a lot of hurdles, and I got kind of a sneak preview of just the kind of stuff that I'm going to be dealing with. The phone calls, the appointments, the misunderstandings with the drug companies and the pharmacies and all of that stuff. It's coming. I can already feel myself just tightening up over all of it. And that's not the mindset you want to be in. That's not the way you want to feel. You know, when you're going into fertility treatment, you're supposed to be able to somehow miraculously relax. And, you know, I also, knowing that I'm anticipating this and getting back into it, I can't help but start to feel all sorts of other kinds of stresses. Like, oh, if this is too much for you right now, or if you still want to lose a little bit more weight or whatever, you don't have to do it yet. But then I start having panic attacks about the fact that even if I were lucky enough to have children result from this on our first try or second try, they're not going to be the right age to be close to my sister's children. My sister's children will be too old to play with them like as true cousins and be close. And I go down this awful spiral of things that stress me out, that I've just tucked away, that I've just thought, worry about that when you come to it. And now it's here. And I think that that's where all of this stress is coming from. So I started editing the vlog from earlier, and I had since taken a nap, and I feel a lot better. I'm gonna have to just stop feeling bad about that. If things have to get done, they'll get done. I have to just take care of myself, and I'm gonna have to just start looking at it that way, because I feel like I can think straight and everything now. But I got to thinking about the bottom line of what I was realizing and wanted to say in the first place, and I very inadequately expressed it earlier. And I think it was mostly just because I was so tired and trying to stay awake and get through some thoughts to complete the vlog. I pretty much know that I only have 10 more pounds to lose, and I sort of in the back of my mind am freakishly amazed by the progress I've made so far, even though it feels like nothing. And I think whenever I was, planning ahead and I said, okay, my first goal is to lose 50 pounds. Then I want to get to 199 pounds. And then I want to get to my third goal, which I feel like at that time I'll have a better understanding of what that is. Even if at that point I have to do another 50 and then additional goal, because I don't know. I remember in high school being around 180 pounds. And when I got married, I was around 190 pounds to 200 pounds, somewhere in there. And I didn't hate myself. I was pretty comfortable in that weight, but I knew that I was overweight. So I think once I get to that point, I will have a better idea of how much further I need to go, roughly. But I think that the fact that this much has happened as quickly as it has is kind of scary to me, because in the past I used to have to bust my ass to lose 10 pounds, and it would come off, but it would come back because I was dealing with the insulin issues and all of the problems that I didn't even realize I had, and I was feeding myself sugary fruit, and even though fruit is supposed to be so good for you, my body just can't handle that. And I wasn't just having a little bit of it. I was making juice and smoothies for days, y'all. I realized that at the time, losing 50 pounds seemed as likely as seeing a unicorn in my backyard, because I couldn't even lose 20 pounds. I would just lose it and gain it back. And when I lost 30 pounds for the weight loss challenge that I did before my first IVF, it was practical starvation. I mean, I cut out gluten and sugar, like refined sugar, but there was still a lot of sugar in my diet, and gluten-free products are normally made out of rice, and there's a lot of carbs in that. So knowing what I know now about how my body responds to this diet, sorry, I was cracking almonds earlier, and why did I buy almonds that you have to crack to eat? Why did I do that? Anyway, just knowing what my body is capable of now, when I feed it the right things, it amazes me that I was able to lose that 30 pounds before and keep it off, for a couple of months. So I think that I just thought it's going to be so long before I have to worry about having my heart broken by another IVF, because in my mind, I just can't see it working. I just feel like I don't trust it. And I know that that's not the mentality I need to have going into it, which is part of what tells me maybe you're not ready. But I also, I mentioned earlier that I have this clock in my head that also kind of every now and then sort of pokes at me and reminds me, hey, even if it were to work this time, think about how old you are now, and just blah, blah, blah. There's just a whole slew of things that are really painful to think about. And I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to look at things from a good standpoint. So when a couple of weeks ago or months ago, when I first sort of started to get an idea of what the momentum was for my weight loss, and I thought, oh, by February or March, I should be 50 pounds down, I can start treatments then. That's fine and dandy, but it also doesn't mean I'm going to be ready up here. And I didn't even think about that. I just thought, oh, once I've lost this much weight, I'll be good to go, just all around. I want to do more treatments, and I can tell Mike's sort of coming around to the idea too. I think that it scared him a lot financially, which, don't get me wrong, I understand that, and I am worried about that as well. But I think that if there was ever a time when we could handle it financially, it's now. And even though we don't have buckets of money set aside, we can finance some parts of it, and other parts will just work out as we go. And the only thing that we can do is hope and be positive. And I know I sounded really negative earlier, but I get in those low points, and then, you know, I take a nap or I freaking have a snack so I'm not so grumpy, and I think it's not that bad. It could work this time. And if it does work and I wait a really long time before I'm ready, aren't I going to be so upset that I let my fear get in the way of the most wonderful thing in the world? I would just dive in right now, just go all in and say, I'm going to start my birth control right away. But I know that that could cause some weight gain, and I think that that's a little upsetting, especially because to me right now, the more weight I lose, the more likely I am to have better results, just in terms of everything, egg quality, all of it. I also kind of think maybe I should just ask the doctor. Maybe I should just say, hey, do you think I should lose 10, 20 more pounds, or should I just start now? What do you think? I think they would tell me to just start now, because they always acted like my weight wasn't a problem before. And I can remember several times when one of the doctors there was like, oh, we got a girl pregnant just last month. She was bigger than you, though. She was bigger than you. Don't worry about that. And I was like, I didn't even say anything about that. So I just, I'm taking a gamble no matter what, right? And I hate gambling. And look, I aggravated my hot dog skin. I just had to get out of my head for a minute and, I don't know, put the burden on you guys and tell you guys about it. But I know there's somebody out there who hears it and feels like they're listening to themselves, and I'm sorry if that's the case, but I also am really strangely comforted by that, because some days it looks like everyone else has it all together. Sometimes it just does feel like I'm the only one over here who's struggling and hurting, and so sometimes it's nice to feel like other people can relate, even though I wouldn't wish this pain on anybody else. So thank you for listening to me and being my buffer and being such a good support system and watching all the crap videos I make, and just thank you for being a friend to me. And I'm going to keep going. I haven't given up. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going. So thank you very much. I'm going to add this to the end of that very rambly beginning part of the video. And I will talk. Oh, look, I bought these curl things. That's what I'm playing with. I don't know how well they're going to work in my hair, because I forgot to get the stick thing for it, so it doesn't work without it. But I ordered it, and even if I don't actually like it for my hair, it's fun to play with. So it reminds me of snap bracelets a little bit. Snap bracelets? Okay. All right, that is it from me, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Snap bracelet.